Hi. I recently had the pleasure of being interviewed by Victor Davis Hanson on his podcast. We talked about ocophobia in antiquity. He and I, after all, both have a classics background, and also about how ocophobia pertains to America and Israel in the present day. I link to the interview below. Victor's last question to me in that interview was, "What am I working on right now?" And my answer to that was actually a bit incomplete, so I thought I'd get into that for a few minutes for this video. Perhaps in this way I can whet some appetites about work that will come out in the future. As I said in the interview, my current book project is in the realm of aesthetics. To tell you a bit more about this book is a vastly revised and expanded version of a book that I actually wrote in my early 20s, and that was published by a small independent publisher in France. It is a series of interconnected essays on conservatism and progressivism in art, the need in the present era for new understandings of what art is, how art is abused for antisocial and oikophobic ends, how the academic world crushes creativity and philosophy, and finally, on how the rejection of academic methodologies allows us to broaden our perspective of art, philosophy, and narrative itself. In fact, the working title of this book is Art and Narrative. Just as my book, Western Self-Contempt, which we were talking about in the interview, is a type of journey through times, places, and ideas, so too this new book will be a sort of journey as well, in which I go with the reader to various cities at various times and discuss the interconnectedness of art, philosophy, and society. It's still far from certain when this book will come out, but in the meantime, regarding other current work, a lengthy book chapter of mine on American pseudo-conservatism will come out relatively soon. In this text, I explain that several current strands of conservatism have lost their way in one or more of a few different ways. Since Western society is moving in an increasingly leftward or progressive direction, conservatism has been forced to adopt an increasingly defensive posture. There is therefore a crisis of conservatism going on right now, and it appears when it abandons its principles and becomes pseudo-conservatism. That is to say, it becomes too focused on mere reaction in its struggle against the progressive and oikophobic left, and it unwittingly adopts the language of progressivism. The abandonment of conservative principles for the sake of mere political reaction is especially common among American pop conservatives today, and among the so-called NatCons, or national conservatives, one realizes that they have in fact become far more liberal and progressive than they themselves seem to know. This text will probably not win me a lot of friends among conservatives, but it should be viewed as a critique by a friend of conservatism, someone who, as I do, wants conservatism to remain strong by reconsidering some of the ways in which it may have gone astray. And finally, on a completely different note, the third piece of new work that I have coming out is actually a memoir I wrote of my time as a teacher in a small Herero village in the Kalahari Desert. This is not a philosophical work, though it does contain some philosophy as well, but it's mainly a story about a wonderful group of youngsters who were in a difficult and at times tragic situation. And it's about the institutionalized violence that ruins education over there. It's also a good reminder of how lucky we are here in America and in the West, something that a lot of people today seem to have forgotten. But I have a brief video in which I talk a little bit more about this book, so I'll link to that below as well. So these are the next works of mine that will hopefully be out relatively soon. So if you're interested in one or more of them, I hope you'll stay tuned on this channel for more information. Take care.